Welcome, Kim Gorski here. Another edition of Balance Over Perfect. Let's get settled. Let's get in it because we're talking about some lies we've been telling ourselves for years, if not our whole life. So as we go through our day-to-day, we don't even really kind of do these three things I'm going to talk about. And it's really interesting when I think about, the clients I work with, even with my own journey, and seeing a lot of my mentors and people before me go through this. And it's really the preface that we've been lying to ourselves that things have to be perfect before we get started. You've heard it before. You've been desensitized by Pinterest with all things don't have to be perfect. But how often is that coming up in our lives? How often are we saying to ourselves subconsciously that things need to be perfect? Because we go through these different parts of our lives and we're wondering why our marriage isn't better, but we want it to be perfect. We're wondering why our, weight loss isn't perfect, but we want it to be different. And so we wonder why we're not in the right part of our career and we're not feeling our best. And it's all because of these lies. These lies that, it has to be a perfect set-in for my husband and I to have sex. Yeah, I know. We've been there. Or it has to be this perfect dinner for us to really have this connection. Or it has to be this perfect transition from one position in your job to the next. It has to be this perfect nutrition for us to get results. We've been spoon-fed this over years. So it doesn't really feel like it's that big of an issue because it's been spoon-fed just like a little baby. And just like a baby, it grows. And just like our perfection, it grew. So that spoon-fed of perfection, here you go in your mouth, here you go in your eyes, here you go in your ears. We're hearing it, we're seeing it, and we're ingesting it. Think about that. Everything we hear, everything we see, everything we ingest is perfect. Perfect social media, perfect marriage, perfect diet, perfect body. It's exhausting. It's so exhausting that I was like, sister, I got to get on here and talk some real deal. And it's the reason why I created Balance Over Perfect. And then we start to look at this work-life balance. You've heard me talk about it before, but how have you been having this work-life balance? And that, my friends, we're trying to take it to a perfect level as well. That we have 50% work and we have 50% family and 50% this. And it's like, no, one's always going to be somewhat off balance. So maybe I should name my brand Off Balance Over Perfect because we are really starting to even think now, if we don't have balance in our lives, we're not perfect. Meaning we're not happy. We've attached these things to our happiness. We've attached that if work is so insane, but family's all right, we're not happy. We've attached the fact that if family's amazing, but work or if family's not amazing, but work is just booming, we're not really that happy. So how do we get to this place that we can just move forward? So I want to read to you guys. I got the dictionary up right here for you. I want to read to you guys what the true definition from Wikipedia, very valid source, or it is just enough. And that's what we really need to hear today. Just enough for us to make the shift. So perfect, adjective, having all the required or desirable elements, qualities, and characteristics as good as it is possible to be. Absolute, complete. So we hear these things in Pinterest. We're like, it completes me. That's the perfect feeling we're striving for. But as you know, as a mom, a wife, a worker, just a human being, we're not going to feel complete all the time. So why are we saying that because we're not complete, do we have to not be happy? And because we're not absolute, are we just not ever going to be settled? Are we ever going to have this life that we just kind of take a sigh of relief? And those are kind of the moments we got to start striving for, not the big picture, not the whole entire life, the moments. So I was talking to this lady today as I was picking up my car. I was getting an oil change, and she said, "Man, can we just have this month stop going so quickly?" And I said, usually I'd be like, "Yeah, I know." But you know what I said? I said, the reason why things go quick is because we're not actually taking in the little moments. Again, disclaimer, Pinterest desensitized you with that. You have pinned the crap out of those, and it's not serving you. So I want to challenge you today is, where's that perfect moment in your day, week, month? Gosh, please, 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 at least this year. Because in the next definition, as a verb for perfect, makes something completely free from faults or defects, or as close to such a condition as possible. What the? You gotta be kidding me! Are you trying to tell me on the other end, Miss Perfectionist over there, that you don't have any faults? You don't have any defects? I mean, I even have defects on my body in the point of I have like scars from crazy injuries when I was younger. Indents because of chickenpox and Accutane, and being on Accutane. Acne people out there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Just even take the physicality of who we are. Oh, and sister has dimples. I have stretch marks from the injuries that I got with my legs going in and out in muscle tone. Are you telling me that I'm not enough of a human being because of those defects? And then let's go deep. Let's go deeper inside. Are you telling me because your heart is not always trusting and your heart is not always loving that you aren't enough? Well, actually, by the definition of perfect, yes, agreed, you're not enough. Because when we start to go from that mindset, how the heck are we ever going to get there? Then let's do balance. This is a really interesting one. The way that I describe it to you guys all the time is balance is finding peace in your highs and lows. But now let's take it to the actual definition. An even distribution of weight enabling someone or something to remain upright and steady. Not perfect, not straight like a pencil, not straight like the lines on that paper that you have. Sometimes you're hunched over. Sometimes you're squatting down because you you just got done a really hard workout, or you're bent over because you just got sucker punched emotionally. That's balance. And then you stand straight up with that slight hunch because we all need to work on our posture. And then we start to speak louder. And then we start to feel confident because we just started getting out there. Not just in it, out there. So we're in this perfection loop that's drained us, that's made us feel inferior, that made us feel not enough. Now I want you to stand straight up, not too straight, because I'm proving a point that you're slightly hunched over back. Don't get me wrong, posture is very important here. You're slightly hunched over back. You're not so trusting heart all the time. The blemishes on your face, the rolls in your stomach, the gut instinct that you know it's not right, or the gut instinct that you know it is right. That's balance, my friends. So what can we do to get away from the perfection loop to the balance loop? And I'm not going to say that you are never going to go back to that perfect moment. That's where we have to do this first thing. Accept responsibilities that you have these moments like this. Accept all responsibility for your life. Not my husband did this, my coworker said that to me, my boss is a beep. You know what I was going to say there. No, your responsibility. Accept it. When we start to accept that, we start to see that balance loop kind of just go crazy like a hamster wheel, right? Like the hamster wheel is going so fast, so fast, so fast, and then he has to go get some water. because he has to get to the place that he's aware that that perfectionness is coming up. He was on a high. He was so excited on that hamster wheel. But then he has to get off, hydrate himself, nourish himself through nutrition, through mindset, through love, through connection. So that's the second thing. Are you aware of your actions? Are you aware of what you're saying to yourself? I know we may not say, I need this to be perfect. I know that. But guess what? It's coming up in a different way. And I'm talking about those inner thoughts. I'm not just talking about what you verbally say. So, or how often are you catching yourself? I love when I catch myself in a text message. I'm like, turn that back. Start there. And then how often are you taking action on this new life of this balance loop? Because I said this before, you're not exempt from perfect moments. You're not exempt from feeling that way. You're not exempt from that comparison or, the doubt, the fear, and all those things. You're not exempt from that. But the more we take action, the more we feel more confident and then competent. That is just the psychology down to the nuts and bolts of what it really is. Competency, meeting up several times on that hamster wheel, going to that confidence. So you're not good on camera. You're not good at, confronting a hard situation. You're not good at speaking your truth. You're not good at getting dressed up for a night out. Guess what? You're not going to ever be good. And that's the hard truth until you take action. So that's why we say, well, we have to wait till the perfect moment. We have to wait for the perfect time. Never the perfect time. Because what's even worse about that is when the time is dead and there's no more time. And then you go into that what if trap. So now you're back on that hamster wheel. But you're not with all your friends. You're not with all the people that inspire you. You're on that lone hamster wheel of what if. You're in a trap. So how often are you doing what you truly want? How often are you strengthening that muscle? I'm not talking about going and doing a workout and completely just taking away from all this, because I know for many years, I used my workout as my crutch. That's my strength. That's who I am. No. When I started to work out the skills that I needed to be this person I wanted to be for all these women out there, to break through bad cycles, to break through bad habits that don't serve them and live a life that they feel is theirs. I speak my voice because once I couldn't speak my truth. So I do it for others. How did that happen? Over and over and over and over. And that's the hard truth, but is it the truth you need? Yes, we all need this. So when are you going to go out there and accept that responsibility? How are you going to say, I am so freaking aware that I know what I'm saying now and I'm catching myself? And then you are on fire, sister. You are like literally flames because you're taking so much action. You actually have to get your glass of wine at the end of the week and you're like, man, I did it. That, my friend, is how we get out of the perfection loop. And that is how we get in the balance loop.